What is up, everyone? I'm Steve, and these are the Memoirs of an Indonesian American, a show that shares experiences, tips, and tools that have shaped friends of mine to become who they are today. I hope that there's something here that you can relate to, whether you're Indonesian or not. In this episode, we will be moved by Denyul on self-expression. He's a talented musician, vocalist, and music producer who has released a number of tracks that I highly encourage you listen to, as even the track played in this podcast is credited to him. Honestly, pause the episode and listen to his music. That's D to the E to the Nyul. Look him up. Denyul will be sharing his inspiration and passion for music, how he learned to express himself through a creative process, and a few tips for aspiring musicians or artists. And to wrap things up, as a staple of this podcast, he will be speaking on how his Indonesian culture has played a part in his American life. Let's have a listen. Hey everyone, I'm here with Denyul, and he's going to be talking to us about self-expression through his music and just his origin story, how it's allowed him to mature and grow, as well as some tips for you all. And of course, adding the component of being an Indonesian American. But first, Denyul, I just wanted to ask you, what are you passionate about?
I like a lot of things. One of them, music, of course. I'm genuinely just a shy person, but I like to entertain,
Yeah, for sure. I know you're not, it's weird because you're a really talented musician and we listen to your songs over and over, but people wouldn't know that about you, huh? But cool. What else are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about writing, just writing stuff down, just writing, how I'm feeling in the moment, like even as short as one word. I like to write and reflect, and I use those as lyrics a lot of the time.
Oh, interesting. So the inspiration throughout any day could be
My experiences.
Yeah,
for sure. Those are a big part of what I like to do. What I'm passionate about, and it's a huge thing in my life. So,
yeah, cool, awesome. Awesome. So we're back with Denyul, and he just told us that he's passionate about music and expressing himself. But let's get down to the main body of what I wanted to learn today, and what the audience wanted to was, what is the origin story of your love for music?
That's a good one. Surprisingly, I never really saw a future in music when I was younger. I've always planted a seed to be in the medical field, to be somewhere like in that field where I'm helping people. Because, ever since I was little, I've always wanted to help people. But as I grew up, I never really enjoyed it. So there was an exact moment, and I'll tell you, where I shifted from this medical field vision to music. And this was right before... Actually, no. This was right after graduation. And this is surprising because a lot of people, when they graduate, they have, a set, they know where to go. But for me, I had a hard time because I was always told, you always have time, So when you graduate, you'll go where you want to go, and then, you'll become that person who you want to be. But for me, I was procrastinating. I'll tell you that. So, I always thought, okay, I have time. I always have time. But then when that moment hit, it really hits you. And it's just what do I do? What do I want to be? Because obviously I don't really enjoy, I like the idea of helping people. That's awesome. And being in the medical field, you make money.
Yeah, for sure.
You can like do anything. It feels, but like, do I really enjoy it? Is that my dream? And that moment, that question hit me when I was up in the stage, actually holding my diploma, and I didn't know where to go. So, like, actually, in that moment, I remember in the car, I asked my mom. I didn't know what to do. She told me, just pray. A simple thing like that, just pray. And after the graduation party, I prayed. I was definitely lost that day, and it's strange because it's graduation day,
Yeah.
And I prayed. And actually, the next day, I got a call from this big Indonesian artist.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's like, "Hey, I love your music. Like, let's collab."
That's awesome.
It's been just such a special ride for me.
Yeah.
And it just tells you that God does amazing things in hard times like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in graduation, I literally didn't know what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember in the graduation party, what actually led to that message was Kaira told me, like, "Hey, Daniel, you should perform. You should perform your song in graduation party," which is actually in the backyard here. At first I was like, "Nah, I can't. I'm shy, But at the same time, I'm just like, I love to entertain people,
Yeah.
It's just like seeing them smile, like because of, you're singing, and it's just an amazing thing. So I did it, and then I prayed that night, and the next day happened, and there you go.
That's awesome.
I'm where I'm at.
And you made that, you felt like in your mind and your heart, you made a pivot from the medical field to music. But I don't think you're actually, what you might not think, is actually helping people.
Right.
Music can be your form of helping people, Because you can touch people's lives through music in a way that maybe nobody else can, which is super cool, right?
Yes.
And it's super special. Also, shout out to Ira.
Shout out. It's amazing. She's amazing.
And then I want to backtrack because you mentioned that story when you were up there on the stage. For me also, I think that's a phenomenon that happens with everyone. Because you're going through school, you're going through high school, you know what to do every day. You go to school, you go to class, you come home, you do your homework, repeat, right? But once you finish graduation, you hit graduation, the world is yours. Yeah. And it is for me too, like a scary feeling, right? Because some people don't know where they're doing. To be honest, in college, some people still don't know what they're doing.
Right,
they just go to college because that's what they're told to do, right? Get a degree and move on and go experience your life. But no, that's cool. I think careers are meant to be something that you can be passionate about.
Yep.
Right? Because you don't want to pursue a career, pay a lot of money, and end up hating what you're doing. Yeah. But at the same time, we do need to feel practical, right? So if you have something that you can fall back on top of pursuing a passion, you can do both. For those of out there, maybe they do like being in the medical field, but then they have other passions. Maybe they're YouTubers, maybe they're musicians, maybe they're artists. So
just do something that you enjoy. Follow your dream.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even our parents, they tell us, "Oh, go be." I mean, as an Asian American, they're like, "Hey, go be in the medical field. It's guaranteed money, and we won't have to worry about supporting you in any way." But I think for me, I had that aha moment where my parents kind of realized too, they wanted me to pursue what I wanted to pursue because that would make me happy for life. Yeah. So I think that's cool. And I think you get a lot of support from your community. Yeah. Would you think that's true?
Yeah, it's very true.
Cool. So before the graduation day, obviously there are 4 years of high school. I wanted to ask you, I think you were doing music before then. How did you balance it for those out there that are maybe in high school or jumping into high school?
Let me tell you, it was not hard. I hated school. But, to graduate, I needed a long-term goal. I needed this goal where it's like to get where I'm at, I have to do these certain things.
Yeah.
If I graduate, that's just going to help me more to become who I am in the future. So for me, I hated school, but it was one of the things that I needed to do to become who I am. And not only that, but it's, my mom's dream as well. She came to this country, to raise me and, have this life for me and, to repay her back. Like, even though I don't like school, I have to do this because, it's right for me, and it's also, making my dreams for my mom as well. Because if I'm following my dreams for me, I think it's right if, I make that dream for her. So.
Yeah, that's awesome to find that balance because,
of course,
and find the discipline to be able to get there. But you know that you had to do it. Very good, very good. So what did a typical day kind of look like then? You go to school, you come home.
Go to school. Yeah, I just wake up, take a shower, just early. And I just go to school, just go to choir. It's my favorite. Of course, it's my favorite class.
Yeah. You're just waiting till you can get to that class.
Yeah, it's just, and I talk to my director, my teacher. I ask her a lot about, what can I do better? And it's kind of crazy because when I first did high school, choir was just a fill-in class. I didn't choose to be in that class, but choir was just fill-in. For some reason, that class started to be my favorite in senior year. And I don't know, it's just the fact that I just kept learning from it, and I just liked it, and I heard myself. And it was for the very first time, just hearing yourself. Because sometimes when you sing, you're used to it, And, what you sound like. But when you hear people tell you what you sound like, and they're saying all these things, it's such an amazing feeling.
Oh yeah,
so I kept going on with it. I wanted to get better, and finishing high school just motivated me on. For sure.
And that's actually a good tip right there because you really enjoyed music, and it was a big passion. It evolved into that, but just knowing that you could get better and knowing there was someone out there that could be a mentor to you, you didn't feel prideful, you didn't feel like you were better than everyone else. You still want to learn from everybody else.
Yep.
And that's a good trait to have.
It's never I have everything in me because, I hear a lot of people say you're born with this talent. That's true, but there are also things that I need to learn, and I can learn.
Yeah.
And I don't only learn from her. I've learned from so many people, and the internet too. The internet is such a big thing nowadays that you can learn literally anything from it. So yeah, just taking advantage of the things you have right now in this generation is just a big thing. Yeah. And I'm glad that I am doing that. So yeah.
That's awesome. All right, cool. So that was the balance between academics and music. Now, how has music for you in pursuing your passion helped you express yourself?
I think a really big thing about, expressing myself that I have, a tool I have, is an audio recording software here, and notepads. When I go through something or I just think about something in my head, I like to write it down, and I use that for lyrics. And as I'm creating those lyrics, I'm thinking about, myself in the past, and it's almost like you're writing it down, and it's you're writing down your life, and you're going through it, and you're just saying oh wow, it's either I did an amazing job or I could have done better. And what I look for is not the amazing job. I look for, the things that I could have done better at. Why did this make people feel a certain way about me? Why is this like sad. Why is this hit me? You know,
Yeah.
why does this lyric hit me?
Yeah.
And I try my best to like look at my phone sometimes and my notepads, and I look at that same lyric because I write it down, and I say, I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool that you're always on like the path for improvement. Mm-hmm. You know, because some people like when times get tough or they get down, maybe they go through a big life event, they just give up. But you felt that music was your outlet to be able to, you know, make those steps and take strides for improving yourself.
yeah.
And
Of course.
because I can see it filling pretty much like not a void or a gap, but filling a place in your heart that just makes you feel good, right?
And honestly, it's not only like music. Like, you know, to self-reflect, you can just write it down. Just writing down something that's bothering you, something that's even you're happy about. You know, you can just write it down, look at it, and just think to yourself, oh, what could have I done better? Even the things you're happy about.
Yeah.
Like, just strive to become better. Look for those goals, you know. Just keep on going, you know.
Cool. And we kind of mentioned how it's allowed you to express yourself. Do you think it is important for those listening to express oneself, like themselves?
Of course. I think a lot of the things, taking care of your physical body is good, but also your mental.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing in life. Just taking care of, you know, yourself, your self-worth, just being your character.
Yeah.
You know, not changing that. Just writing something down that's from you, you know, and learning it from yourself. It's a really big thing. And I think that's really important in the human life.
That's awesome. Because just the mental aspect of it and the emotional, and then it turns into not the religious spiritual, but your just spirit, just your
mental,
aura. It really affects everything down to the physical aspect.
Of course.
So very cool. It sounds like you've grown and matured through this whole process. Could you explain that a little bit for the listeners?
I've had my rough patches. But yeah, no, it took a lot of reflection and most importantly, discipline for sure. Just telling yourself, like, hey, it's going to be all right, you know? Just writing it down. Like, I still have, you know, those, I still like wrote those down in my bad times. I still look at it, but now I'm smiling, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, wow.
I'm someone new.
I'm someone new, and this doesn't affect me.
That's
and it
awesome.
Of course. It's just
cool.
like, just self-reflection is a huge thing.
Yeah, and a lot of us think that like our demons are like external, but sometimes they're internal. And we need to tackle those.
Of course.
Right? And that's really important, and I've seen that in you, and that's really cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, we want to wrap up this segment by just offering Daniel, you might have some tips for aspiring musicians or artists or self-expressors.
Right.
Let's start musically.
Musically, I think it's really good to, you know, have a notepad and just write things down.
Yeah.
A really good part about music is, you know, when you write lyrics, it can be anyone else's experiences, and it can also be yours, you know? Just writing the things down in the moment. And those lyrics in the moment is what makes a good song. So I recommend, you know, musicians out there to just write something down, you know?
Yeah.
Just write, you know, I'm happy. Why are you happy? Like in this moment, like you just feel super happy or you're just super down. Just write it down, you know?
Yeah, I think in this day and age, like we're all kind of forgetful. So like when we say, remember this moment or savor the moment for later, we'll forget what it feels like the euphoria of it all.
Yep.
Or how we were just feeling so hard, like emotionally.
Yeah.
But it's good to capitalize if you're an aspiring musician to hit that at whatever the peak is, right? Your peak happiness. Just think about that and go there. Cool. Very cool. What about self-expressors? Like those that are maybe shy. Maybe they do want to just, they do want to make their parents proud. I know I did. You know, a lot of Asian Americans do. But what would be a tip for those that it's not selfish, I would say, right? To express yourself
of course.
And enjoy your life. Do you have any tips for them?
I feel like in tips like that, going back to my days in, graduation, you may feel lost, and you may feel like all these things, might be the answers of your questions. But follow your dream, Don't follow, someone else's dream. Just don't, look at something. You can be inspired by it, but, if you truly happy with something, then follow it. And don't be afraid. And it's okay to be afraid, There's going to be rough patches. That's something there. And God will help you, for sure. But just go for it. And just go for your dream. Yeah. For sure.
I think that really ties into the understanding if you reach for the moon, you'll land in the stars, And it's also helpful that you have a community to support you and you can trust in.
Of course.
Awesome. Very cool. That wraps up this segment. So hopefully you guys have been inspired and learned a little bit more about expressing yourself and finding ways to, enjoy the good moments. But in this segment, I did want to talk to Denyul about the Asian American, Indonesian American culture particularly, and how it's played a part in his life. So Denyul, initial thoughts. How has your Indonesian culture affected your American life or influenced it?
For me, growing up and knowing English, as just my language, it's taught me a lot about just me growing up in, United States. I'm growing up in this culture in itself, in the United States. But I'm Indonesian. And I felt, I've always felt this divide in a language barrier, for me at least. Sometimes I'll just, my mom will be on the phone with someone and she'll just speak into it. And I'm just like,
I have no idea what you're saying.
I have no idea what you're saying, but I want to understand.
Yeah. So you do have a passion for it. You're interested in it.
For sure. Yeah. I've tried apps. I've tried some apps for sure.
Okay.
But
So
I think the language is just,
no, totally. I think a lot of the Indonesian Americans feel that way. Like for even the ones that can understand, most of us here can understand. And then if it's broken vocabulary, we can understand. But speaking it is somewhat challenging for a few, if not many, if not all of us.
Of course, yeah.
But, okay, cool. But how has that kind of trickled into kind of maybe your school life and your friend groups? Have you ever felt like there was a divide being Asian American, being Indonesian American? Has that ever limited you or set you back or maybe made you more special because of it?
For sure. I've, of course, some people, will see, me differently because I'm Asian. But I never really look at it like that. I just don't really focus on that part. I just keep on going. However, being Indonesian, Asian American has made me proud. So just being proud of, what I am, just ignores, all the things that, probably others are thinking about. So
that's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic, knowing that you can be proud of yourself, but you're always on the move and you're thinking about improving yourself.
Yeah, keep on going. Yeah, because it's like, if I focus on, what they're thinking, is that really going to help me get to where I'm going to, It's always that thinking, because you're always going to have that long-term goal.
Yeah.
And I had that long-term goal. I want to be an artist. But in that aspect of school, I didn't know where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to go through those like rough patches, and I'll be thinking like, oh, why are they looking at me like that?
Yeah. That's just an unnecessary obstacle that you can move out of the way.
For sure, yeah. And I just think just having that long-term goal, just focusing on only that thing, helps a lot. So
that's good that you've been able to drown out kind of that divide if there ever was one, but you never felt like there was one.
Yeah, no,
because you never really focused on it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And have there been any circumstances where you felt like, not in a bad way, but in a good way, that you were Asian American? Maybe there was a event, that you went to, and other people were like, wow, you're Asian American. That's really cool. Like,
of course.
I witnessed something really special about you.
Yeah, of course, like our school's cultural awareness, that special day where they would celebrate, the culture. I held the Indonesian flag for that day.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it made me proud just being who I am. Wouldn't change it for the world. So for sure, it's just such an amazing feeling. And also my friends too, they're great.
Awesome. Great. Good stuff. Now, last thing before we wrap up this segment, I just want to ask you how much of an Indonesian you feel like, because you mentioned you really can't understand the language. Not all of us can. But do you still feel Indonesian amidst all of the drowning out of, those cultural barriers or, just differences?
I know that the language, barrier is a big thing, and the right answer would be yes, for sure. And my answer would be yeah, of course, because, when I'm following this music thing, I'm also representing, Indonesians. So, just looking out for that, just setting myself as like a good example for others as well is a huge thing too. Because for me, being Indonesians, you don't really see those like that many Indonesian music artists, especially in the United States for sure. And, setting an example for yourself and showing those people that are, scared. Genuinely, I think that there are a lot of people out there that are scared. It doesn't have to be Indonesians. Just showing them that, hey, like you can do it, for sure.
That's cool. You want to be an inspiration to others.
Of course, that's a huge thing too.
That's very cool. I think that's definitely a great way to help other people. Well, thank you, Daniel. And that wraps up this segment.
Of course.
Segment, we wanted to ask Daniel about his important tool or daily driver. Maybe one that's music and one that is outside of music.
Of course. Daily driver, I think, would be just my microphone for music. I think that's a really important part of my life. Is being able to, vocalize and share, just what I want to like create, because I love to create stuff. And being able to do that with a microphone is just a huge thing. And it's just a powerful thing to have those speakers on and you're hearing yourself. Just like, oh, that's not me. Wow, is that really me? It's just like so crazy.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, of course.
Now, would you say that people need an expensive mic?
Oh,
an
no,
expensive
of
tool?
course not. Nah. If you want to be a musician, of course investing in a mic is always a good thing. But you can start, with your
Start where you can.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I made my song Matter. Like half of it was on my earbuds.
What, really?
Yeah.
Whoa, no way.
Half of the song was like made from, my Apple earbuds.
You're lying.
So you
There's no way.
Yeah, you can start from the bottom, and it'll just
mind blown,
just
man.
Keep investing, just keep on, making yourself up and just Yeah.
Any recommendations for mics?
I have the AT2020 right now. You can get the Shear. That's a really good mic. It's pretty expensive, but like an affordable, 100 mic is the AT2020, a good condenser mic. So, yeah.
Wait, you upgraded from the Blue Yeti, which
Yep.
we're using now, to that?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I wanted to have an XLR, and I just wanted to mess with things with an audio adapter instead of using my laptop
Yeah.
and USB. So I just wanted to upgrade, and it was a recommendation from one of my mix and masters. So
Cool.
it was
Very
great.
Cool. And what about an important tool or daily driver outside of music?
Right. I think a really good tool for that is just writing. Just like, I know this is like kind of into, music, but I really believe that, you don't really have to be an artist to write something down. Because that can really help you in your life. Just like even writing one word, just one word. Or just a sentence, just reminding yourself, hey, like I've been there before and now I'm not there. Just knowing that thing you're going through is temporary. And just living your life after that and being the happiest person you can be. So
Awesome. Very cool. Oh, man, I'm so inspired. All right, let's wrap it up with your favorite quote or Bible verse, or both if you have any.
Of course.
Just to bring us up on an even higher note.
I found this Bible verse. I forget where this was from, but I wrote it down. I think it's either from like GYC or my trip to SLA in Manado. But it's from Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. And it says, "Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, He is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you." And this really is personal to me, and I picked this specific one because, going back to my graduation day, I felt lost, and I felt like I couldn't really go to anyone. And in this verse, it really tells you do have someone to go to. Always, you have someone to go to, and that's God. So never forget that, for sure.
True that. True that. And with that, I think that wraps us up. This is Memoirs of an Indonesian American. I'm Steve.
I'm Denyul.
Bye.